Hello, I'm Laura Furiosi, divorced mother of 3, and I'm here with my mother, Lynette Galvin, with 35 years' experience in family law. You're listening to the Divorce Course podcast. Through our candid discussions, we hope to help you through your divorce or de facto separation. We will be answering the most commonly asked questions and covering the stages and steps that you will face on your way to freedom. Here are 10 simple and easy ways to help your lawyer be the best for you, and also might keep your costs down as well. Welcome, Mum.
Hello, Laura. Hi, everyone.
Now, this episode, it doesn't matter what country you're in, but we've gone through and had a little chat about what it is that you wished your clients would do to make your life easier. And when your life is easier, it makes you doing better for them, right?
That's right. That's right. It just helps.
Yeah. Yep. So over your time, you've probably seen heaps of things that have hindered it. And we were going to talk about that, but I figured let's just list the top 10 things that you think. Just seriously, if you've got a lawyer, you're listening right now, you start doing this is going to help them and they're going to probably like you a lot more.
Oh, you'll be their favourite client, the no trouble client.
Yes. And if you haven't been to a lawyer yet, but you're about to, then this will be a great episode.
Excellent. Yes.
All right. So number one, and a couple of them are quite practical. Some of them are like just big rules, but most of them are practical. But this one is not a practical tip. This is a underline, red letter, highlight, capital letters, TRUTH, truth. Tell the truth. So why does it matter, Mum, that how does it help your lawyer if you go in there and tell the truth?
Well, you have to tell us the truth. We're a team and we can't repeat what you tell us unless you give us permission to. So it's a safe space, unless you're going to kill somebody, which case we usually would report you. But you have to tell the truth because almost every time someone fibs to us or to me, the other side outs the truth, or the searchers will show the truth, or it will come out. And I don't want it coming out when you're in the witness box and I can't help you anymore on the final day of your trial. Okay, so I need to know what I'm working with. It's like substituting baking powder for plain flour in a recipe. It might look all right, but it's not going to come out at the end. So you've got to tell the truth.
So I guess a lot of people might struggle with telling the truth sometimes if they're embarrassed or it's awkward or there's, I don't know, they're just so ashamed. But the benefits of telling the truth, I guess, when it comes down to it, is your costs will be cheaper because if you've got letters back and forth arguing something that's not true, then that's going to cost you a lot of money. But also the relationship with your lawyer, Mum, does it get affected?
Yeah, if my clients, our whole firm, if a client tells lies, we terminate the relationship and won't act. Because, and that can be that they'll have to get someone else and start again. And that's because we have to have absolute confidence that we're not telling the court the wrong thing either. So you must tell the truth. Most of us, I'm sure it's just second nature. And don't worry about whether you're going to turn our hair grey or worry. I don't think there's anything that we haven't heard. Lawyers have heard everything.
Yeah.
And if you've been seeing a new partner before you actually left your old partner, so what? Just say it. You know what I mean? Just say it. It takes all the power out of it. It allows the other side to think, oh, well, I can't use that to blackmail her then, you know.
So what you're saying is it's better for your case to be truthful, honest and upfront, because I guess you could be building the case as well based on lies, and then basically it's all going to fall apart at the end when the lie is ripped out from underneath as well.
Well, generally in any family law proceedings, because it's such an emotional area, honestly, everyone swears on an oath or affirms their affidavits the truth and the whole truth and nothing but truth, but they're two different stories. And a lot of the time it's just misremembered, if you said it was Wednesday, but your ex-partner has given a diary note that says it was Thursday, and they go, oh, it was Thursday. Oh, I could have sworn it was Wednesday. Well, you did just swear it was Wednesday, but that's all right. And you can concede that point. It doesn't matter. The court doesn't expect you to be precision sharp in all of your material right from the beginning. There are misrememberings, but an absolute outright lie is really a bad idea. It won't end well for you. If you get away with it and you get through court proceedings and you've socked away $1 million somewhere, it may well come out in the future and the court case can be reopened. So there's no benefit to telling lies.
Do lawyers get in trouble if their client does tell lies and it gets up in court as a truth?
No, as long as we don't know the truth of things, as long as we don't know that it's a lie.
Right.
But it's a bad look to have your client switch around. It means the judge may think you should have been more robust in your questioning of your client, but it's the client. Let's remember here, the lawyers are helping you with your case. You're not helping the lawyers so much. And so they're just helping you with the case. But if you tell fibs, you're tying a hand behind their back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's not a great idea. Okay, so that's that first hurdle. Don't tell lies.
Yes,
just
out with it. Just
it all
say
out.
it like it is.
Just rip it off like a Band-Aid. Treat them like a hairdresser.
It's not as bad as you think. They'll go, most lawyers go, okay, and write that down, and that's next.
Yeah. I guess it's the same thing as when you have to be like partially nude with a doctor and you're like, I'm so embarrassed. And doctors are like, I don't care.
I do this all day long.
Okay, so number 2, and this is a more practical one, Mum, is that you suggest we do emails over phone calls and always start a new email address so that you've got a paper trail and you don't miss any emails from a lawyer. So do you have people that miss emails sometimes, or does that delay?
Yes.
Like, how does that
goes
help
to the
you?
junk mail, and you're just never sure if they've received it or if they're distressed and unhappy or things are happening all at once, which they will be. They've just missed it in the melee. So if you start an email address that is get a brand new one just for court, give that to your lawyer, and then it's a way of sort of them doing your filing for you as well. Because everything you need is in there. Yeah,
that's true. And then that way when they say, hey, can you look up and see when this happened or when I sent this letter or what happened, you can just go to that one account and it'll be easy. Because let's face it, I'm pretty I don't know if anyone's like me, but my email is full of junk emails from like fast food companies that we've gone to once, or earring companies, underwear companies. And I get all these emails and it fills up my inbox every day. I really should just go and unsubscribe to them all. But things can easily get missed in your general day-to-day email account. Yeah. So that is a really good tip.
And if that's the only email address that your lawyer's got and the only email address you use and it's not there, then you can categorically say it wasn't sent or I haven't received it. Also, little thing is you can set up rules if you want to subdivide it, but I wouldn't think it's necessary. If the sent stuff will be everything you've sent will be in your sent folder. And everything they've sent's in the inbox. It's perfect.
Yeah, right. And now number 3 is this thing that's interesting. I hadn't heard of this before, Mum, is to have a look at the CC and see who's been CC'd into the emails and use reference numbers. So can you talk us through how that helps?
Okay. So we have a lot more contact directly with our clients these days. In the old days, it was phone calls and then our letters would go out in snail mail, right?
Yeah.
But now there's a lot more quick emails between the lawyer and client or even longer ones. But we don't do very good filing, I'm told. And so our secretaries will usually copy our secretary in when we send something. And if they do, remember to copy their secretary in when you send something back so that that's a complete record for them as well and saves them one little step in the process.
So basically what you're saying is lawyers are focused on getting cases and doing things. They're less focused on filing. And because it's not paper and they can't just put it in the to be filed folder that I used to have to go and do for you when I worked for you in high school, there is no to be filed folder because it's your actual inbox. So if they CC in the secretary that was CC'd in when you sent it, have a look in the box. Yeah. And if you put the reference number in, that's going to just help your communication be tracked.
Yeah, particularly if you're in a big firm, if you're dealing with a big firm. So, yes, so that's and I appreciate that when a client picks up on that and uses those two things.
And the other thing was RE. So I don't even know what RE stands for.
Yeah, regarding. It's old-fashioned. So when we say the subject, right?
Yes.
Lawyers do RE : your family law matter, which tells you nothing, you know. And sometimes the clients write back with your client family law matter, and then and so the subject line becomes a nonsense. So I always try to put the holiday house. or something, do you know?
Right.
And when they write back, I hope they'll read the holiday house and use the same thread.
So you can glance at your inbox as a lawyer and go, oh, yes, okay, I can see that I really need to deal with that urgently today.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Instead of a generic thing. And for the filing point of view, when the secretary files it in on an electronic file, ours are in the cloud. If they just file it by date, I'm clueless. I'm looking, going, was it then? When did I hear about the holiday house? I think it was May the 1st. I don't know. But if it's saved as 1st of May 2023 holiday house, right? Because that'll be how they save it. They save it with that heading. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Good tips. There we go. I'm still thinking back to when I used to work for you in high school and at uni, and we had those pink folders, and I'd put it on the what is it, like a pin? You'd stab it through the pin.
Oh, the pink. Yes. Those spikes for telephone messages. On my hat. I used to have nightmares about them. Yes. I finished work one day. I remember there were 26 phone calls to return.
Oh, gosh.
And I said to my secretary, are you trying to kill me? And then we'd have to ring the ones we could and ring the others and say we couldn't get back. So that's why emails are so good, because a lawyer can quickly respond. Phone calls, it's, hello, how are you? Hope you're well. Are you going okay? Yeah, I'm going okay. What have you been? And then you gradually get to the topic. So I guess I'm a bit like a millennial in that, I really want to do it quickly rather than all the niceties.
And let's be fair, if you're the one who's paying the bill, you'd be wanting it to be done quickly because it's going to cost you more to have a big, long conversation than send a quick email.
And that brings us to that tip of lumping them together if you've got a lot of questions.
So, yes, definitely do that. But we actually didn't put that in there. But we've got tip number 4. The other side has written something and they've sent it to you to look at. You're saying to put it in a Word document and write your answers underneath, then send it to you. Can you explain what that is all about?
Okay, so often a letter will come from the other lawyers to your lawyer saying, your client this, your client that, da. Yeah. Okay. There's 2 ways we could deal with that. We could ring you and say, what do you think about this, and get instructions over the phone. We can email you and say, what do you think about this? And you can respond by email. That's my preferred. However, I often find when people do answer the email, they don't answer everything. So if you cut and paste the words of their letter into something, a Word document, change the colour of your font, not to red, but something dark, and even in capital letters, and then you can address each clause and say, oh, no, actually, this didn't happen, this is what, so that your lawyers can then draft a letter responding easily. He's seeing what they said and what you say, and it's all sorted. You know, and you won't have missed anything. There won't have to be a follow-up letter saying, what about this? Or you didn't read it properly. And that's why they all cost money. And you might skim. So I'm the same in my personal stuff. You get a letter, and if you get a bit that says, I don't know, you've won lotto, you don't read the rest of it. Or if you get a letter from the doctor saying we think it might be cancer, you don't read the rest of it. You just see that bit. And so if you're getting something from the other side, it's like a little grenade into your life, and you go, whoa, and you answer the bit that affects you. Yeah. So with this way, you can be methodical in your responses, and you can then save it into answered correspondence. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. The next one, Mum, it's all about disclosure, and really excitedly at the moment we're updating the course, and so anyone who's doing the course who's listening, you'll see there's some new episodes and lessons there for you about disclosure. And Mum, so you're saying when it comes to disclosure, Mum, it's really important that the client gives it a clear, concise, descriptive name, so you're not searching for years trying to find one document.
That's right. Or that the secretaries aren't spending hours collating documents, because most firms, that time's charged to you as well. I know when I save a document, sometimes it just says PDF. Okay. I take the time to rename, and it might be Westpac Bank statements, loan account or bank account number, and put the account number, or put just the last 4 digits we usually use, right? And then each one will have that as a heading, and then the dates, right? So that they can all be put together and easily located. Right. And you know what you've sent, they know what they've got.
So that from the fact that you've given that as an idea to be one of the top 5 things that someone should do for you, I'm guessing it must be a nightmare for lawyers to find disclosure documents if people just email a whole bunch of PDFs that are like PDF number 123, PDF number 456.
Yeah. And you've got the power to, at your end, for a little bit more trouble, they will be forever properly identified. For instance, if you save them a certain way and they're not, it's like your own unique system, your lawyers or staff are going to have to rename them to log them into perhaps a Dropbox or what, a Google Drive or whatever, and for the other side. Ultimately, it's the lawyers on the other side and maybe the judge who are going to see these documents. So name them properly from the beginning. And that's the other tip. When you get a new email address for the court, don't put anything terrible as your username. You know, not my next wife will be normal at gmail.com.au.
Or name the disclosure document butt faces bank statement. Okay, I can see. Okay,
don't do any of that. I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it.
I've seen it. And I've seen one too where the phone records were called and they had a really awful name for the other parent as their name in the contacts, and the judge was very upset and critical about that. Yes, so be careful what you say. Very proper.
Yes. Yeah. Now, in the course, we are providing the ones that we are slowly uploading. It shows how you can set it out using our system, how to put all your disclosures together, what we recommend. Definitely, though, think about it before you see a lawyer, or if you are seeing a lawyer and they start asking you for disclosure, create your own system so that it's going to move smoothly for you. And I guess when you think about it, Mum, as a lawyer, from the lawyer's perspective, if they can easily find things and track things down, they might discover stuff that they might not have been bothered to discover.
Well, no, we have to read every page. But it's going to cost you a lot more if it's not collated into something sensible. But a lawyer, when you send a document to a lawyer in response to disclosure, we skim to see if it's okay to go. If it's okay and you've labelled it properly, we can simply get it forwarded to the other lawyer. We read it at our leisure later. But it's just getting that foundation right of your case. You may never end up in court, but what if you do? You may never go beyond mediation. But, you know, you need to be able to say to yourself, I did send all those documents. Here's my proof. It's in my email address and I've labelled them properly.
Yeah. And like you used to say to me, Mum, do it right and do it once, or do it once or do it. I can't even remember it. But you used to say that to me.
Do it once and do it right. And I used to say to all my staff, don't put it down, put it away. But if you could see the floor of my office, I've just come back from Melbourne. I haven't lived by that today.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. And I didn't come back from Melbourne. I don't know what my excuse is. So, number 6, and this is when you're going to the lawyer to have a meeting. The one thing you say is really helpful for your lawyers. You're invited to our free webinar. Whether you're stuck at the beginning of deciding to divorce or you're struggling to find your way through the legal jargon and fear of the unknown of the legal process, we are here to empower you to take control. Join us to learn what steps you can take, followed by a live Q&A where you get Lynn, my amazing mum, and family law accredited specialist to answer your questions. All you have to do is go to www.thedivorcecourse.com.au and click on Reserve My Seat. Register now for our free webinar to help you make the best decision for your future. We'll see you there. Hurry, spaces are limited, so don't miss out. Register today. Number 6, and this is when you're going to the lawyer to have a meeting. The one thing you say is really helpful for your lawyers. Going to see a lawyer takes notes. Why, Mum?
Well, because sometimes they don't repeat what they've said to you in a letter, and you need to remember what they said. And it's like that old cancer or gold lotto or whatever it is thing. If you're there and you're stressed and you've asked one question, you might not notice the other stuff that you get told. So it helps you reflect on it. If you want to discuss it with your friend later, it's all there and you've got a record. Don't make your lawyer, don't go, oh, hang on a minute, I'll just write that down. No, just write quick notes just so that you've got an idea, and it'll help get it into your brain.
Are you able to record them?
You can ask, but normally not. That the risk with that is I'm sure a lawyer won't mind, but the risk of that is perhaps the kids getting a hold of it or someone subpoenaing it.
True.
Now it's privileged. When I say privileged, if people ask for that, you're allowed to say no, I can't. That was brought into being as part of my legal case, and therefore it's privileged information. You can't have it. But a audio recording of an interview with a lawyer just has the capacity, to me, to be misused. Someone might get a hold of it, send it.
Okay, all right, don't do that. Don't take my bad idea. Okay.
And also you should ask if they want you to, or if they mind. But if they say they mind, you can't do it anyway.
Okay. So take notes, take a friend. We always say that as well. Number 7 is take your chronology. Now, we bang on about this in our webinars. We bang on about this in our course. We've got a downloadable chronology you can use in our course.
Timeline.
Can you just give a brief reason why taking a chronology or a timeline to a lawyer is helpful for your lawyer?
Because it just needs a lawyer to quickly skim down and they've got the nuts and bolts of the case. So we need to see age of the parties at marriage. So you usually put the date of birth of the oldest one, date of birth of the next one, and then you can put how old they are. And then we quickly skim down. We've got the whole history, how many kids, when you're separated. And, of course, that matters in calculating things.
So take your chronology or your timeline, take notes. Number 8, it's pretty basic, be on time. Is that must be hard? Is that really?
It is hard, and it can upset the lawyer. The lawyers try to run on time. I don't think most lawyers are pretty punctual, okay, because they don't have wall-to-wall clients, so they're able to structure their day to take in a client, but they may have booked another client straight after. So if you're late, you will have less time with the lawyer, or you're causing because they'll just terminate the call, the visit.
Or they might have court even, Mum.
Well, that's right. That's right. It's just common courtesy. And, again, it makes you kind of a favourite client, a no-trouble client.
Now, this one was interesting. You explained this to me. I know I went through my divorce, but I feel like I went through my divorce in the Stone Age because all this high-tech stuff didn't really happen back then. It was only a couple of years ago. Yeah. So you were saying that don't take USB sticks to your lawyer when giving documents, and it's better to bring soft copies. Can you explain why?
Yeah, better to send a soft copy. Well, the USBs now can carry viruses, okay? And because we've just had so many, and most computers, they're linked to different offices and up to the cloud. So one virus can bring the whole firm down. So a lot of firms have a policy now, you don't use a USB under any circumstances. It's much safer if you send it by in a Dropbox or send it even by email, whatever it is you've got to say. That way the computer virus scanners can pick it up.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, that's important. So if you're going to the lawyer to talk about a document, then print it out before you go or email it?
Yes. Preferably email it beforehand and take a hard copy for you to look at and refer. You don't want to be too tied up on your devices while you're talking to the lawyer. Okay.
And then it's a bit of an obscure last one for top tip number 10, but that is give your lawyer permission to text you. So can you talk me through that?
Yeah. So I have a few special people that I have. They have my mobile and I have theirs, and that way I can quickly text if there's a crisis, or they can quickly text. Not all lawyers will do that in a reciprocal way, but if they can send you a text if there's a cancellation, if they're running late, if they need you to call them urgently and they can't get a hold of you, we don't always all check our emails all day long on our computers, but we always know what texts we've got in. So give them permission to do it that way, so that you can be comforted that if there's nothing in the text, there's nothing dramatic happening that you need to deal with. I'm going to be clear about this. I know you keep saying we, but you are really, really, really trying to stop being a full-time lawyer, and you're trying to only consult at your firm. So I know there's a lot of people that have been trying to get you to become their lawyer, and bless your hearts, I know you're all going through horrible things, but Mum doesn't have that
capacity, but she does have lots of lovely lawyers that work under her that she can help consult with. So just
sorry, I was using kind of like the royal we there, but I mean lawyers in general, who can get in touch with you. I mean,
but on that note, though, Mum, we are actually looking for recommendations for one of our listeners or our members who have got lawyers that are good, that get it.
Please.
Because we have so many people writing in from all around Australia going, can you recommend the lawyer? Can you recommend a lawyer? So if you have a lawyer that you think deserves a star and they are amazing and you wish other people knew how amazing they were, you can email us at thedivorcecourspodcast@gmail.com or DM Mum on Facebook or DM me on Insta or TikTok. And we would love to know about them because we're planning. Mum's going to do some interviews, work with some of these lawyers to have them maybe in our recommendation list so that we can provide that list to those who call out and ask, because it is a need, isn't it, Mum?
It is, and mediators as well, and barristers. It's really it's important to get the right ones to help you.
Yes.
And the best people to tell us who are the right ones are really you guys, if you found a good one.
Okay, so let's look at the tips again. We've got tip number 1, tell the truth. So, yes, that's pretty easy to do. Tip number 2 is to use email over phone. Tip number 3, make sure you're CCing in whoever the lawyer had CC'd in at the time. Make sure it's not your ex. So don't CC in the other side, but if it's the secretary of the firm, and make sure you use reference numbers and you're clear in your RE, regarding. That way that, it's easier to be filed and understood. Number 4, make sure when you're responding to an email from the other side saying she did this and she did that, you can just put it into Word and then put your response in bold underneath, maybe in a different letter.
Something like that. Or number it with a big red felt pen and then number your response and photograph or the letter. Yep.
Number 5, make sure your disclosure has clear names and clear labels, and don't call it butt faces bank account.
That's
so
right.
just
make it
be really careful.
Clear from the get-go. Yeah.
Number 6, take notes. Number 7, take your chronology or your timeline. Number 8, be on time. Number 9, with a tip for being on time, I just would like to point this out. I always pretend it's 15 minutes earlier than it is. I always put it in my diary and my calendar on my phone 15 minutes earlier. And usually you make these bookings months in advance. And it happened to me actually the other day. I was going to a specialist and I'd put it in 15 minutes earlier and I was running late and I was panicking and I finally got in there right on the dot and I said, I'm so sorry I'm late. She goes, you're 15 minutes early. And I went, oh, that's right, I was. So
you were brought up well.
Yeah, trick yourself. Okay, and then number 9, try and keep your copies off USBs. You can keep your copies on a USB if you want, but don't expect your lawyer to stick that in their drive because they probably won't. So provide it via email, via a link from Dropbox or Google Drive, etc. And then number 10 is give your lawyer permission to text you if they want, and then that way you can have a better communication process. And I know a lot of lawyers have a different phone for work, so it's not that weird. And a lot of businesses text now, so it's becoming the norm.
It's great,
Mum, before we go, again, a reminder, anybody who is listening who does have a lawyer, that's great, or has been through and has had a great lawyer, let us know. But if anyone has got a manipulative or controlling ex and they're going through this with their lawyer, are there any other top tips that you can think of that might help?
Yes. Well, I think record keeping is the one way to call out a manipulative and controlling. You may have to at some point, if a lawyer will step out for a while, say to them, look, this is going to cost me too much. They're just going to argue every point. Can I just take over my own case for a while? And you tell them you're not acting at the moment and I'll get this all squared away and then I'll come back to you after. Because sometimes manipulative and controlling people use their lawyer to cause your lawyer to do more work for you and run up costs.
Of course. All right. So, think about that with it. And definitely the really good tip you can help your lawyer with is document. Don't send it to them, but keep it in case.
Yeah. When they want it, they'll call for it and you'll go, yes, I have that here.
Yeah. Okay. What about high conflict? How do you help your lawyer if you've got a high conflict? Any other things?
Again, it's records, isn't it? And be ready to say to your lawyer, look, I'm not willing to die in a ditch over that point. Just agree that we disagree on that one and move on. Or ask your lawyer, does that really matter in the overall outcome? You know, do we have to prove this point for me to get what I'm entitled to? Or is it something that we can just say, look, we're not going to discuss that? So limit the debate.
Okay. All right. And then avoidant. If you've got an avoidant ex, how can you help your lawyer?
Get the lawyers, if they're contacting them or emailing them, to put a non-threatening thing in the re, you know.
Okay. Yes.
Not re or continued avoidance of our case or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes I'd get my clients to ring or text or email their ex and say, by the way, there's a letter coming from my lawyer. Don't freak out. It's just this. So that it's like really avoidant people don't even open the letters and mails.
Could you put like subject, cute fluffy puppies inside?
I don't think any lawyer is going to do that. But I have been known to email some of my avoidant clients and highly anxious clients with this is good news, nothing to worry about.
I think that's good, right? You don't want to get an email from your lawyer and go, oh, no, what now? And
yes. Well, he confessed he couldn't open my emails because he was worried. It was a shot from his ex. And I also had another lady saying the same thing, that she said, I really love you, Lynn, but every time I see the name of the firm, I feel sick.
Oh, that's so horrible.
It's so sad, isn't it? But yes, so that's what I do for avoidant people. Yeah, and if it's amicable, well, it can be laid on the line. Just don't let your lawyer make a molehill out of your make a mountain out of your little molehill. You know, tell your lawyer to pull it back. Make sure, of course, you're not being your ex is not being friendly just because you haven't said no to him yet. So test that out. But if it's truly friendly, then you can say to your lawyer to just tone the rhetoric down. Don't need to give deadlines. He'll get back to us, you know, and just work on it that way. It's still going to be precise, though.
Yes. So that covers amicable as well, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I was doing that for amicable, Laura. Yeah, I was just saying it's amicable. Because
we're getting late in the episode. Now, you did say it, Mum. Now, before we go, I think we need to announce a lucky person who has given us a review, who gets to have a free chat with you, Mum. So I'm just... All right, so once a month, so every 4 episodes or so, we read one review out that has been on Apple, and we give that person the chance to have a free chat with Mum. So this month's person, we are choosing their username, Mum, is pretty funny actually. It's login failure. So whoever login failure is, please email us at thedivorcecourspodcast@gmail.com so we can arrange that call for you. And the title is Absolute Godsend, 1.5 years into my case and not even near an interim hearing. I wish I'd discovered these ladies earlier, binge listening to every episode from the beginning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Mum, there you go.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You're helping so many people, Ma. And there were some other lovely comments there as well, other lovely reviews, and we thank you so much for them, because every time you make a review, it gives Apple or Spotify even the chance to push us a little bit more out into the internet world so that other people just like you can find us, and that is our main goal, isn't it, Mum? To help those people.
As many as
possible. Thank you so much, Mum. I hope this episode helped you. If you haven't seen a lawyer yet, don't feel overwhelmed by what we've said, but this will make you be like the shiny, best behaved school kid and the teacher's pet. Yeah. And it's always good to have your lawyer on your side. So don't you think?
That's
Mum?
right. It's like having your systems in place early on.
Yes.
And we all know systems are the secret to success.
This is right. And telling the truth is also the secret to success. All right. Okay. I'm wishing everybody who's listening the best of luck. Let us know about those lawyers, please, please, please. And thank you, Mum, so much for your time.
Thank you, Laura. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. If you found this podcast helpful, we'd love it if you could rate, review and subscribe. By doing so, you are spreading the word to help someone else just like you. Lynn would like to remind you that this podcast is general advice only, and you should always get legal advice in relation to your particular situation. And remember that the Australian laws may have changed since recording in 2020.